So instead of me doing an introductory on, the conspiracy of why to cover up astrology, I'm just gonna, since this is almost like an hour long, I'm just gonna do this and do this as part of a series maybe and talk and just label it something to do with the Bible or the origin of, basically condemning astrologers or astrology or whatever. But I was shorthanding some of those sections that I had off, and as I was mentioning the psychological um, like persuasive narrative or manipulation of some of those scriptures. Which one was it? So the Deuteronomy, blah blah, section 17, verse 2, be found among you within any of thy gates, which Lord have given thee. Okay, so gates, borders, countries, cities, those aren't actually part of what God gives you. That's what society and governments and, monarchs or whatever give you, right? So those are established on a sociological level. So this reinforces the whole Old Testament God is, if you were to equate it to Greek astrology, Greek theology, it's Uranus, which is Uranus, a trauma signature, and it's known for actually doing that. So this obviously being part of volume 2 of the Bible, this is the Old Testament that they're talking about. So this is more of God being a trauma signature. And it says, be found among you within any of thy gates which the Lord hath given thee. So you're insinuating that the Lord is not actually like the celestial bodies above or anything like that, but specifically the Lord who is the king that has delegated and made thy gates and thy cities. So it says, which the Lord have given thee. So right here in this context, which I can go on and on about, which as a matter of fact I have this book as well, Psychiatry in the Bible, all kinds of things that I could go into. This insinuates that the actual identity of the Lord their God is delegated, quote unquote, from the king, or whoever is, quote unquote, the noble ones. And that's how it ties into the whole there being kings and queens and monarchs and worshipping those and etc. etc. And the only reason why those aren't actually in sync with society today is because they've been made obsolete and replaced, religion's been replaced by worshipping the government instead, which is the same fucking thing. Just with a new name and a new face. It's the same fucking bullshit. So when it says that you should be following the Lord their God, so in ancient astrology, Jupiter as well as Pisces, so Sagittarius as well as Pisces, essentially even Pisces, the two fish being associated with Jesus, are associated with God and all that. And the 12th house is self-sabotage and self-undoing and conspiracies and secrets. So it's the self-sabotage or looking the other way about things that are actually detrimental to your livelihood and survival. And that's actually what it starts to spiral into with Revelations. And primarily we're in the Neptune Pisces age, which is when we're getting close to the quote-unquote Revelations thing. And this again just goes back to me arguing over and over again that Revelations and the end of the world actually isn't some sort of karmatic, apocalyptic, cosmic thing, but it's actually the repercussions of the fucking bullshit that society does. And that's exactly what this is all about. So right here, just taking that context with be found among you any of those within thy gates with the Lord I've given thee. That insinuates that whoever makes borders, regulations, laws, countries, communities, which is the government, right? Or, monarchs or whatever, or, what is the word? Prime minister, stuff like that. The Pope even, the Pope made his own, awesome gates from the Vatican. That if you listen to anybody who in the sight of God is transgressing his covenant, questioning what he says. That's the whole, don't question the state. And and that's why still today, the majority of all the states within the United States actually don't recognize astrology as an actual science, despite the fact that back in the early, basically the last time that Uranus was in Aries, there was actual litigation and a court case brought against a quote-unquote astrologer soothsayer in New York who proved in front of the court and the judge ruled that she's raised astrology to a science because she was able to depict a thorough character profile of the judge's now then deceased son that died from a drowning accident when she gave the actual like characteristics of who the person was and said that they're going to die of early age with something to do with water. Yeah. So despite the fact that it's been proven, despite the fact that Benjamin Franklin is the founder of the fucking Farmer's Almanac, which is the essence of the environmental and agricultural sidereal astrology that's necessary for us to see the weather and shit like that. Yeah, there's that. Yeah. So this is the start and the origin as to why they're covering it up. And this also just reemphasizes too that there's no distinct difference between monarchs or any kind of royalty, religious rulers or whatever like that, popes or religious affiliates, or people who represent government. They're all a trauma signature. They all are misguiding everybody collectively in herd mentality and causing us to all basically slowly digress and be our own downfall. And if you even ask any starseeds or psychic people who have noted that they feel like the entire essence of human consciousness is being dragged down, yeah, that's the downward spiral thing. Yeah, it correlates with this and Revelations and all that. Yeah. And yet again, if you actually reference multiple different perspectives about certain events or themes, you'll start to notice that there's a common denominator of things, primarily that are things that are actually masked and hidden from the collective societies today and mainstream knowledge in general, which again goes back to controlling the information, controlling the mind, governing the mind. Government, meant in Latin, is all the origin of things internally within the mind. Governing is to subdue, enslave, control, or limit everything within here. The way that they do that is warping and manipulating the external environmental factors, silencing the people that are brave enough to speak out, condemning the people that are given sixth sense gifts to actually know the difference, and to continue perpetuating and conditioning you to accept and adopt a certain narrative that is completely self-destructive, counterproductive to your own individual progression and evolution, and what is actually reality. Welcome to the real world. And the origin of why astrology is covered up as a fucking pseudoscience and it's fake. Because if everybody knew how accurate astrology was, and everybody knew just the basics, or knew that if they went to people like me that are extensively rehearsed or practiced with astrology, that we could actually debunk every fucking bullshit thing that's ever happened, and we can find the truth to every single fucking conspiracy, secret, or controversial thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. I was born in the 80s, and I was able to depict exactly what caused the 1929 stock market crash, and apparently I was so dead on that I had my entire fucking website blacklisted, completely corrupted with malware, and I was banned from fucking Facebook, among other things. Yeah. And if you notice too, my YouTube channel, I have like 280 fucking subscribers. I'm a nobody. Why would they be so overzealous to try to suppress what I said? It's because I've actually proven with a methodology, systematic kind of process, that there's bullshit that they're continuing to fucking plant into your mind and perpetuate to this day. And that's what they're pissed about. And just like that one last scripture I was reading, where'd it go? Thou art wearied in the multitude of counsel, the different plenthorous of information that's wrong, fake news, hello. Let now the astrologers, stargazers, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. The lies, the perpetuating narratives that are basically turning people against each other and causing people to annihilate each other, and make people psycho. By the way, cognitive dissonance and a personality conflict were actually conditioning people to actually think or believe or rationalize that certain things are happening when it actually completely contradicts what they're physically seeing in their everyday lives, causes fucking psychotic episodes, makes people go fucking crazy. It's called cognitive dissonance. And if they continue to actually condition you, that's why I've been saying for years now, the Neptune-Saturn square, if they continue to condition you to, like, basically go fucking apeshit in your head, you eventually go psycho and do shit you would never have done before. Because that's, insanity. That's called fucking insanity. Yep. Just think, when Jupiter goes into Sagittarius, and it conjuncts in people's natal charts that were born with Uranus in Sagittarius, which is the epitome of sociological, the generation of insanity. That'll be anybody from, mid-80s into the early 90s. Those people are going to be the ones that are going to be doing really, really psychotic fucking shit. If you think the Neptune and Aquarius generation eating Tide Pods and committing mass shootings and joining ISIS is bad, just fucking wait until that conjunction happens. You don't even know. And again, I'm warning you. Yeah. Anybody who, is a skeptic with astrology, if you understand what I'm saying, and you support what I'm doing, even people that you know that are totally against it, have some balls and grow a pair for 5 fucking minutes and help me out and share this with them and say, just watch it. If you think she's totally bullshit, go comment in the YouTube comments, call her out, and she'll fucking show you fair and square, completely outright, how it's scientifically accurate. If my scientific evidence of astrology videos aren't enough evidence for you, and everything else. And again, for people who perpetuate that they believe in science and they question astrology, it means that they actually didn't do the homework, and they don't actually support the methodology or the scientific method and practice in general. They're just continuing to regurgitate and perpetuate what they've been told by their gods or basically the lords of their science, when they don't know anything of it. That's the number one thing. Pretending that you know things when you don't is the worst thing you could possibly do, and the most detrimental and disastrous thing that can be done in society on an individual level or a group sociological level at any point in time. And that is running rampant as of now. And look how fucked up everything is. So everybody's, obviously, since that was towards the end of the Bible, Revelation's time, it's time to actually listen to astrologers, and it's also time for real fucking astrologers to come out and stop being pansies and pussies and fucking do what I'm doing. There needs to be more of them. And with my North Node in the 11th house, and being in a grand trine with other astrological points that emphasize soothsayers or clairvoyance or whatever, I'm going to be the first one that has to go out into the dance floor and awkwardly start dancing to get the entire room to actually have fun and enjoy the actual music. And I have no problem with that. But it's time for people to actually help me push this more. Because, again, as history shows us, who knows how long it'll be before I'm another Socrates or Plato. Only time will tell. And only keepers of time and observers of time and stargazers, soothsayers, and astrologers can fucking tell you that now. Because everybody is lying, and everybody is corrupt. And even the people who really wish genuinely to be objective and have an altruistic perspective to tell people or to share are so disoriented and disillusioned by all the fucking lies and the bullshit being perpetuated that they wouldn't even know reality if it hit them in the fucking face. Unless it almost killed them and they died from it anyway, and then they'll really figure it out. And another thing too, if you're feeling that you're being haunted or your house is haunted, or you're hearing shit, or you're having really fucked up dreams and stuff, yeah, your spirit is pissed for good reason. You should figure out how to fucking talk to it and see what the hell it wants. Start from within. Don't let your external environmental factors control your mind.